this computer. I assume that means, yeah, we're recording.
Okay. All right. Hi, guys. I'm Claire. I think you don't know me. Today I'm going to talk about the February 28th, 2017 Naplate-Ottawa Tornado. So this went through my hometown, Nick's hometown. And it was in February, so that was kind of interesting. Not very normal for Illinois. All right. So just a little bit of location and information about Ottawa. So it's located about 90 miles southwest of Chicago. Naplate is, it's really pretty much part of Ottawa. It's just a separate little village attached to the west side of Ottawa. This is something people always said, living in a river valley, you can't have tornadoes, which that's been proven false several times. That's such a myth, it's a hoax. So we're right on the intersection of the Illinois and the Fox Rivers. The population is a little over 18,000 for Ottawa and just under 500 for Naplate. And I grew up in Naplate. I lived there until I was about 10, and then I moved to the south side of Ottawa. So here's a couple maps. Here's Ottawa, it's pretty big. I'm mainly going to be talking about the south side of Ottawa, and then over on the left there is a map of Naplate, and you can see it here on the Ottawa map. It's very small compared to Ottawa. So February of 2017 was very warm. The video is not.
Do you want me, I
Yeah.
have to click.
This is just a video of me. I was on my trampoline in a t-shirt and shorts on February 19th. Usually I wasn't even able to be on the trampoline, so, and trampoline will come up again later, but as you can see, temperature graph, there was a lot of days where the high was near 70, which obviously not normal for February.
Oh, there we go.
All
Sorry.
right, so focusing on February 28th, here's the SPC graph, outlooks. So we were in the enhanced risk, kind of on the edge of it, close to the edge of it, and in the 10% hatched risk. So for those that don't know, the hatched risk means there is a greater chance for EF2 or stronger tornadoes within a 25-mile point. So, and here's a sounding I took from Davenport that was taken at 6 p.m. local time. So most of the time for my meteorology people, we look for tapeless storms. But there wasn't any of it, so I asked Dr. Finch, and early spring storms and late fall storms are typically shear driven. So shear is the change in wind with height. So directional shear is the change in direction with height, and speed shear is change in speed with height. So you can kind of see down here, there's some,
Well,
there's some directional shear down here at the bottom that causes the rotation in the storms, and then the speed shear causes the tilting. And then here's just some other graphics for the day. The one in the center is our tornado watch that was issued at 3 p.m. In the top left is all of the storm reports from that day. There's a cluster in kind of north central, northwestern Illinois. Ours is in there, and then there was a couple of other ones surrounding, and then here are the warnings for the day. Ottawa is right in here. And then here's just slide highlighting the other tornadoes from the day. So there's the Ottawa, EF3, there was another EF3 down here in the Washburn area, EF2 just east of that, and then a couple just ones and zeros. So focusing in on the Naplate-Ottawa tornado, it started at 4:41 p.m. and then dissipated at 4:59. The estimated peak winds were 155 miles an hour. It traveled 11.5 miles and got to about a half a mile wide. There were 14 injured and 2 killed. The 2 were outside on the south side of Ottawa and were crushed by a tree. That's why you get into shelter, you stress it so much. And it crossed the river 3 times. So here's the radar image of it. You kind of see the hook echo right in here. So focusing in just on Naplate. The first bit of EF2 damage over here. So here is where one of the nursing homes in town is located, and also the highway department for LaSalle County. And it continued into Naplate where it caused EF3 damage. The first bit of damage that was rated EF3 was from a minivan being launched 30 miles from its original location, right next to a house that was lifted off its foundation, and all of its exterior walls were destroyed. And then the next bit is over here. It is the Pilkington glass plant, which is right down the street from my old house. And one part of it was completely destroyed. So here's a couple pictures of the damage. So this is the LaSalle County Nursing Home and the LaSalle County Highway Department. Right over in that picture on the left is the Pilkington glass plant. As you can see, there's a whole part that's completely destroyed, the roof off a part of it. And then I'm not sure if this was the house where the EF3 damage was found, but you can see the roof and all of the exterior walls are gone. The woman that was in that house only survived because she was in the most interior closet of her house. They didn't have basements, So jumping over to the south side of Ottawa, it continued to do EF1, EF0 damage. It got to its maximum width over here, just under half a mile wide. And yeah, kept going, went across the river again, and then it dissipated not too long after. So a couple locations I want to highlight. My house is about where the purple star is at. So near me, there was minor roof damage. My fence was partially destroyed, but I think that was mostly because it got plowed by my trampoline that ended up in my friend's front yard. She lived across the street and 2 houses down. So it's crumpled up. I wish she sent me a picture of it. I wish I could find it, but I can't find it anywhere. The red pink stars where my aunt's house is. She was near the EF1 damage. Most of her windows were blown out of her house. So, and then the orange star is my best friend's house. So if you look at the picture, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's a girl standing in the doorway. You can see the flash of her camera. That is my best friend, Tessa, of 12 years. And she was actually taking a picture to send to me. That is the tree that used to be in her front yard. It fell over. It was like it missed her house by like a foot. She actually had no idea the tornado was coming right at her until her power went out and she looked out her front window and saw it coming down the street. So sirens, warnings, they're very important. I'm glad that things have gotten better since then. So these are actually all from her mom, these pictures. This is right outside of her house. The trees they gave me the creeps for years. It just looks, everything just looked dead for so long. This is around the corner of her house. This gorgeous house had to be torn down and completely rebuilt. The upper left picture, you usually can't see the river from the street, but obviously you could. It just completely tore the trees and everything. Yeah, it just looked like a war zone. And then here's a couple aerial pictures of the area. Just a lot of damage, a lot of debris. And I just have a couple videos. So this was taken. This is showing. Unlike the entire. So weird. And then here's one more video. So this was taken from a police dash cam. The amount of people out would, it's just crazy to me. So he's turning on to East Van Street, where pictures from the south side.
Drive towards it. Is he driving right through it now, or?
Pretty much, I mean.
That looks really close.
Yeah.
From that
I mean, this
perspective.
is the street it went.
There's lights.
Out of the car.
I don't know. He
That kind of
must have.
sounded like a door.
I never seen it sound on set. All right, so a little bit about my experience. I was at school when the tornado watch was issued. And everybody was like, oh, it's gonna be nothing as per usual, and I just had the worst feeling. I'm like, no, I don't think it's just gonna be nothing, which at this point, 14-year-old me, I didn't know I wanted to be a meteorologist yet. So I always had an interest in weather, but I wasn't super aware at this point. But I still just had the worst feeling. I'm like, no, I think there's gonna be something. So I ended up staying at school for a while after, because I had a big choir rehearsal. There was a ton of people there for the music program, drama rehearsals, sports. So there was a couple hundred kids still at the school during the tornado. I was not one of them. I made it home. The parents picked me up from school, 4:25-ish, so not too long before the tornado. And as we were leaving, I noticed how dark the sky was. I'm like, that's not normal. I've never seen anything like it. Then all of a sudden we got the tornado warning and we ended up turning around because my dad works at the school. My brother was still there. So my mom and I turned back, dropped him off really quick, and then we just sped home as fast as we possibly could. We drove through the path of it, not even 10 minutes before it came through. So we barely made it home. I had like 2 minutes to grab whatever I could and get downstairs. And we had the news on, we were watching it on there, and then our power went out, which our power lines are underground, so if the power goes out, there's something there. So that's kind of when my mom and I knew, like, this is terrible. So we got in our hiding spot. We can usually hear like thunder, we can hear wind, rain still from my basement, but it was just completely silent. It was eerie. I ended up calling Tessa right as the tornado was outside of her house, and she's like, I gotta go. And so I was freaking out there. And then we got the all clear. We went upstairs. I mean, there's the storm. I mean, this was taken after the tornado lifted, but it was just dark. The pictures can't do it justice, but yeah, there's a piece of my fence missing. Yeah, nothing too crazy by my house, thankfully. And then as we were on our way to a friend's house with the power generator, I got caught in my first hailstorm, so that was fun. Yeah, you can. Okay. So a little bit about the aftermath. The community came together so fast and cleanup was underway very, very quickly. So we would have friends and family over who didn't have power. I think the people in Tessa's neighborhood didn't have power for about a week. And as you can see, it snowed, the temperatures dropped. So not having power for that was bad. I had gone down to a church. One of my friend's moms was the pastor at the time, so I had gone down there a couple of the days to pack meals for volunteers and for people who were affected, just doing what I could at the time. That's all. I was like, what can I do to help? That's all I wanted to know, and so I found what I could. And then rebuilding in places in both Ottawa and Naplate took a very long time. Naplate took longer than Ottawa. There's a lot of poverty there, so it just took much longer, but yeah, it's come together, so. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions, any experiences they want to share? Yeah.
You said that it lifted the house off of its foundation, but it only got an EF3 rating.
I know, yeah.
I mean, I relate to you on the stuff is going bad by like specific things that are only related to your area, right? Like boroughs and a little bit of home.
Yeah.
Like this summer, I had that scenario where just all of Cook County was in a tornado warning.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew that it was real when they brought up the Skycam of O'Hare Airport and it did not look normal.
No, I remember watching that. I had just gotten home from Midway, actually. And yeah, that was.
They're updating the scale rating to.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm guessing it, but like you said, probably
Yeah.
just wasn't a well-built home. A lot, I mean, and a lot of them are very, I mean, they're just small little one-story houses down there. They're not super well built, I don't think. So-
And they don't have basements either?
Yeah, some of them don't. My old
That's
house did,
very.
but yeah.
Yeah, the National Weather Association yesterday tweeted saying that they're upgrading a lot of their radar,
Mhm.
a lot of the radar sites across the entire country, and then they're also adding more locations and also updating the EF rating
Mhm.
at the scale, with including radar data.
Are one of those locations going to be at that Kansas, Iowa, Illinois trip, Missouri trip point? Near like Quincy or something, where there's literally no radar at all?
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
So from what you can remember, you said it was really quiet, as it was passing by. When you were, like I said, from what you can remember, when you were getting into the house, was there that like stillness, like there was nothing moving? No birds, no insects, nothing?
Mhm.
But was it windy though, right? Like
I
during,
mean. I was outside so briefly. I mean, I was like, I need to get inside, get in the basement, like I was freaking out, so. But I mostly remember when I was downstairs and it was actually passing semi-close to me. It was just really quiet. I'm sure if I was upstairs or outside, I would have been able to hear it, but.
you know, what amazes me though, that one first video is that as you see all the damage, all the fire and EMS personnel, you can still see the storm cloud to the east.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
mean,
like, wow, it's like, in February though, that's,
Cause I mean, when it's 5 o'clock in February, it's about dark, and it was about dark that, like, they were on it so quick. So,
Yeah.
we were.
and then when did it snow? Like, you had a picture, it had snow on the
I'm
ground.
trying to think of how, I was trying to figure out how many days later it was, and I just couldn't find any data. Maybe 3 days later? It wasn't long.
I remember it, that like warm and then suddenly
Yeah.
snowing. It was like 2 or 3 days.
It was weird, I mean,
And it wasn't the same system either, like that tornadic system came through, and then afterwards we got a snowstorm.
Like December, the ratio was the same.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Nebraska, we got
Yeah.
that snow, not that like later.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Obviously I was there too, though it's not, maybe that's
Yeah.
just memory and stuff like that, but like. I lived just across the river, like on the north side, moderately close to the river, so it probably came within quarter, half a mile, like the edge of the tornado when it was at a steep width. When I went through the south side, is I can only remember that it was very loud with the wind because, I don't know what you call them, but it's like, my house has like two of those things that go in halfway to the basement for windows.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really call them.
Egress.
Yeah,
Like the wind and like how loud it is and stuff.
no, like, I can't, I'm trying to describe it, but it's like, it goes underground, there's like windows for the basement.
The egress windows.
You guys were- Yeah,
You
thing, the
can
thing.
through there, yeah.
Yeah, and because of that, you could always hear the wind and you could very much hear it as after the warning came by and it passed, but it was obviously too far enough away from the house, but you could still hear the wind and it wasn't rain wrapped, that's why she talked about it was quiet.
Mhm.
And it came when it probably passed by and just, I don't know, nothing was really damaged there, but just still scary experience that it came that close, as if it didn't jump the river, it would have gone right over my house.
Mhm.
That kind of reminds me, just when I chased the Minden tornado,
Mhm.
that we were on the east side, we were east of it, and we passed by Harlan just moments before, or just moments after it hit Minden. We didn't see it hit Minden, but it was like right after.
Mhm.
We were coming south and peek over the hill, I rolled down my window and you could just hear the roar, like they don't joke around when they say it's under,
No, I
it's
know.
it's loud.
Mhm.
And that ended up becoming, I think, mile long. A little after, cause it just hit, it missed Harlan by like a couple miles to the west. We passed Harlan and then, yeah, it was just.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording if I can. Stop this.